And we're going to be chatting this morning with retired Major General Rodney Smart, CEO of the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Management, the ODPM. Good morning.
Good morning, Kerry. Good morning, Rockers.
Thank you for joining us this morning. So today is a big day when it comes to disaster preparedness, and the ODPM is observing the International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction. How are you doing so?
Just repeat what you said there, Kerry. I missed that.
Oh, I was saying that today is the International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction, and I wanted to find out how the ODPM is commemorating this day.
Thank you very much. Well, October the 13th, annually, this country joins with the rest of the international community to celebrate what is a big day in the disaster management society. And we speak to the initiatives. When we speak about disaster risk reduction, we speak about those initiatives that countries take to reduce and manage the existing risks that the country faces while preventing or mitigating new risks. This day was established in 2009 by the United Nations General Assembly. And the real aim of it is to track progress towards reducing those challenges that nations face from a global perspective. And all this is tied to the Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction. And this Sendai framework that we speak about is a global strategy for achieving substantial reduction in disaster mortality, in property damage, and loss of livelihoods. In our case in Trinidad and Tobago, our government adopted the strategy and appointed the ODPM to be the focal point nationally for the implementation of this strategy. So today is a big day throughout the world when it comes to disaster risk reduction.
Definitely. Now, this year's IDDRR theme focuses on strengthening disaster risk governance and highlights the importance of good governance by identifying, planning, and acting on disaster risk. You know, how has the ODPM been implementing these measures and steps when it comes to identifying, planning, and acting on the disaster risk?
Before this day, and recognizing the importance of governance, the ODPM has been bringing groups within Trinidad and Tobago together with the purpose of developing some strategic instruments. One of these instruments is a disaster risk reduction policy that will be complemented by strategies and plans. And the aim of this policy is to assist locally to reduce the loss of lives here, the number of businesses that may be impacted in a disaster, and losses to our economy. So in line with the theme that you just enunciated, the ODPM has been bringing together public and private sector agencies to develop what we call comprehensive disaster management policy.
Right.
And this comprehensiveness of the policy will speak to prevention, mitigation, response, recovery, and also how do we rehabilitate our society in the event of a disaster. But additional to that, the ODPM is also working with its stakeholders on reviewing the national legislation, which is known as the Disaster Measures Act. And this act has been in place since 1978. So what we are doing is we're reviving both the policy as well as the act. And these are the principal instruments when we speak to governance of a disaster management sector.
And quickly before we go, how does the man on the street get involved in, you know, being prepared for disaster and even on their own small scale mitigating risk?
And today is one of the initiatives, and I want to say thank you very much for having me on the show to spread the word.
Of course.
we are spreading the word of the importance of communities getting together. In fact, more than communities, we are asking neighborhoods to start getting together. Because as we recognize in this COVID-19 environment, we have to work together. No one person, no one entity can overcome a disaster. And your first line of defense, your family, your community, and then we take it up to the national level. So with regard to getting involved, there are these teams that the disaster management units of the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government is developing. And we are asking persons to get involved at a community level.
Right.
So that in the event something happens, you're not responding, but you already have a plan for your neighborhood, a plan for your community.
And with that, it's a wonderful way to wrap that. And again, just before we go, I know we are on the tail end now of the hurricane season. Is there anything that we should be prepared for in the event of anything? Is there anything that every household should have in place?
And at the ODPM, we always encourage households, and that's where disaster prevention starts, or we always encourage households to prepare themselves. Make sure and have in your home a grab and go bag.
Right.
In the event you have to evacuate your home to go to a shelter, we should have a plan. How is the family going to communicate? But most importantly, know the risk of your home and start from today reducing the risk. And that's what today is about.
Right.
Reducing the risk in your home, looking out for those risks in your community, and reducing the risk throughout, so that if ever there are hazards that you cannot prevent, you are ready to go. So know your risks, have a plan, prepare the bag, get involved in your community.
And that's a wonderful way to wrap this, Rodney Smart. I want to thank you so much again for joining us. And we will now be taking a break as we're now at the top of the hour. And we'll come back with the second half of the show after the news. This is In Our Morning Show.